I do wonder, I guess, on that topic, do you have thoughts on lines of credit? Good, bad, indifferent?
I love the idea of a safety net. And if you can be your own bank, great. But what you just said was that you tapped into your creativity and your other options before you immediately threw money at it as a solution. And so that's one of those things where you really have to know the person you're working with, because some people, if they see it's there to take, they're more likely to take it when they don't necessarily have to. So it has to do with the person. And again, you got to weigh your options and don't let throwing money at the problem stunt your creativity of other ways to manage it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I want to ask you. I'm put you on the spot and I ask you to tell a story about a really rough situation that was brought to you, some sort of financial situation of a law firm, and sort of how you turned it around. If you've got something you can think of, I'm very curious to. I was like, I think the horror stories can there's lots of lessons. I love watching plane crash stories. Not that I like the plane crashes. It's because I like to learn about, okay, these are the mistakes that the pilot made, and here's how you don't make those mistakes yourself. So I think the same thing when it comes to law firms. So are there any stories that come to mind where you can think of, okay, they came to you in sort of a terrible state. You're able to fix a few things and how you fix them, and kind of here's how they're doing now. Anything come to mind?
Yeah. So when COVID hit, I was only 2 years into business and I got this call at 7 p.m. I don't answer the phone at 7 p.m. anymore. We've grown out of that. But I got this call at 7 p.m. from a firm owner who was about to go under. And she had no idea how to look at numbers. She was terrified to reach out and put it off for a pretty long time before she finally did. And we opened up Excel and she told me where she was at then. And she told me what her vision was. And when I translated her story into a formula, when we looked it over, I was like, yes, this works. Like the maths. Here is your margins. Here is your profit. You can do this and make the amount of money that you want to make. And it's almost as if the numbers gave her permission to build what she was wanting, because she already had a firm, but she had something else she wanted to add on to it. And she already had a website and everything just in the cuff, just scared to launch it, scared to make the leap. And she ended up making the leap and she grew 290% in revenue the first year and then over 100 the second year while protecting profits. Back to our original conversation, her profits jumped almost as much year over year. And with the data reports that we were able to put in place, she could monitor the things like the team productivity, marketing investment ROI, all the numbers that help guide our decisions. And for me, I think that story speaks to, if you are ashamed or carry guilt around your current numbers or your current situation, you could be one phone call away from getting the permission that you need and the systems that you need to drop it and to overcome it.
I think that's great. Good for her. I'm glad she did reach out to you because it was probably an easier fix. Not an easier fix. That sounds like it's undervaluing what you do. It was probably an easier fix than what was in her head, though, is probably what it was. And she just had to reach out to you to get it done. But sometimes we make these monsters in our brains about what's going on, and so we tell all these terrible stories. And my guess is that usually, and maybe just tell me, is it usually better than the person thought, or is it usually worse? Because maybe it is worse usually whenever someone comes to you. I don't know.
Better.
Okay,
Definitely. I think
good.
again, that's another human nature thing. We
Yeah.
think that everything is worse than it actually is. Almost always.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that's tough. But